All right, what a handyman day looks like. Not every handyman day looks the same, that's for sure. So today we have been doing a whole lot of personal stuff. We had like doctor's appointments galore today for my daughter. But anyways, pretty sweet vlog going on today. We're heading over to a house right now. First time customer. She's got some shelving units that she wants put up. Really just some shelves. She tried putting them up herself, but the screws that she had kept breaking off. It's so funny because like I have never had a screw break off in a piece of wood on me, like if you're doing it correctly and they have the right, you know, kind of screw. But I have come across so many people that have had screws break off on them, like, and they call me to finish the job because the screws keep breaking, and I'm like, well, I just used my screws and, you know, get it done. But anyways, we're doing that, and then I got a few ceiling fan light pole switches to replace as well at the house. So we're gonna get over to that job, and we're gonna get it done. So let's do it. All right, getting this job started here, and I'm just installing some shelves for a lady. And basically, what she told me was we just want these shelves installed. Really, no rhyme or reason on the mounts. So basically, I just went with the studs. This is an interesting wall because she was saying that she's seen other homes in her neighborhood that are the same model, or you know, a slightly different model, and this wall actually doesn't exist. So she thinks that this wall was added after the fact, and it's really interesting wall. If you push on the wall, you can actually feel it sort of move a little bit. It's quite weird. It's definitely, yeah. I would hate to do too much on this wall here, but it's definitely probably not built right. But we got these shelves installed, and basically, as you can see, I'm kind of staggering the mounts. She was saying that she kind of wants them staggered. She likes that look. She didn't necessarily want me to put them on every stud because she only got me so many mounts. On this job, the customer supplied all the materials. The only thing I supplied was the screws, just because her screws kept breaking off. So I used my own. So basically, that's why you don't see that the mounts necessarily line up, but that's just the way that she wanted them. And then about in the middle of this, I went ahead and asked her, you know, if she wanted the shelves to line up, you know, in the middle or on one side, and she ended up saying she wanted it on the right side to line up. So the top two, I think, are 8-foot long shelves, and then the third shelf that I'm going to be installing on the bottom below that is a 6-foot shelf. And then there's going to be that that desktop that's going to sit below that. So basically, we're just kind of creating a little craft room for her. This is going to be her craft room, so she's going to have some nice shelves to put some stuff up there. I know she's not going to be putting too much weight on there, so she wasn't really concerned about the spans between the mounts or anything like that. So that's kind of why we went with what we went with here. And all in all, she was pretty happy with this whole setup. It didn't take me very long, and so we're kind of getting this going here. And then once I get all these shelves in place using her supplied screws and all that, we are going to be putting the desk in place, and it's basically just sitting on 2 filing cabinets. You see I'm just lining it up there on the right edge. Earlier I went to screw in a screw and it fell. I hate it when that happens, when you're like just about to, you're like holding things all in place and then you try and screw a screw and then it falls on the ground. I absolutely hate that. But here we are just kind of figuring things out where she wants it. She wants them lined up on the right. I wanted to answer a question before. I had a question on the last YouTube video was, you know, why don't I just go ahead and get my contractor's license? I am working on getting my contractor's license. It's something I definitely want to get. But here in California, you have to have 4 years of experience, either working for a contractor or owning your own business, so I am working towards that. I have about 2 years left on that requirement, but once I get that, I will definitely be going for my general contractor's license as well as my electrician's license here in California. So I'm looking forward to that. And here I am installing or taking out old light switch poles for this ceiling fan and going to install some new ones. So it's not really that big of a deal, but it's pretty exciting. All right, first off, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has left me a comment. I was reading the comments recently on the video that I posted today, but it was actually a few weeks ago for you guys. But one of the hot topics for this video, believe it or not, that I'm reading on the comments was priority. So I've always said, and I kind of live by having priorities as, you know, God first, then your spouse, then your kids, and then work. You know, work is the fourth. A lot of people had an issue with, you know, one, putting God first and then putting a spouse before the child. Now, I really feel like pretty passionate about that design because, for one, God created everything. So in my books, he deserves to be the first priority. And then God created and gave us a spouse. He gave us a woman to love and care for and cherish. So therefore, our spouse is second important. And then from a man and a woman's relationship, right, you make a children. I don't think I need to explain the birds and the bees, right? But, and so therefore that's where the child comes from, and then obviously your provision comes from your work. So I feel like it's a very clean cut, you know, dry, the whole, you know, priorities thing. But that's kind of one thing I wanted to address. Another thing that came up in the video that I was referring to was fence boards. You know, that I put my fence boards like right next to each other. A lot of people were saying that, you know, when it rains, those fence boards are gonna swell and they're gonna buckle. But yeah, maybe if you lived like in a tropical forest, like I live in Sacramento, California. It rains like maybe 3 days in the whole year. It's pretty dry here. So if anything, these fence boards, they come, you know, out of Lowe's or Home Depot with just soaking wet. Most of the time when you put screws in them, I mean, they drip water. They're pretty wet. So you come back to these fence boards in a week's time, they're gonna have a gap, you know, between them. So if anything, they could be even closer than close, but that's impossible. So anyway, so I just wanted to address that. But I really appreciate everyone putting in their comments, and I just enjoy reading all the comments and everything that you guys have to say. So if you have anything to say about any of my other videos, I would love to, you know, talk with you in the comment section. So leave me a comment, but let's get back to work. So I have replaced these light switch pulls on ceiling fans where they have the light switch and the fan switch up top. But I've never done one like this, where the light switch is down below. So this is kind of a new design for me. It's kind of interesting. I love digging into new things, and this one in particular was kind of cool because I got to take apart where the actual lights screw into and kind of see what those mounts look like, and how basically a light switch gets its power, or how a light bulb gets its power and all that. So that was kind of cool just to dig into that and kind of see, you know, the inner workings of that. And then here's the switch itself. So just working on that, got to cut it off, strip the wires, and then basically wire nut in my new switch. Really not much to it once you get to it. And then the client actually has two of these, where she thought the one of the fans upstairs had the same issue. And when I got up to that one after I did this one, I found out that the bulb was just burnt out, and it was actually in her daughter's room. So she had just been, I guess it had been burnt out for like 2 years, and she just assumed that it was the light switch, the light switch pull for the ceiling fan. So, but the bulb was burnt out, so we went ahead and replaced the bulb, and lo and behold, that fixed it. So that was a pretty easy fix. So I didn't charge her for that one. Here I am putting the switch back together. See, I got the new switch down there all wire nutted in. Then just reassembling everything, and then it is, after I get all that hooked back up with the nut that it came with, basically it would be time to install it back onto the ceiling fan and get everything plugged in. This ceiling fan is actually very interesting. It's actually not wired in through the ceiling, which I don't even know is correct, but it's really funky. There's actually a wire running on the ceiling that's actually popcorn textured over, and it goes down and it gets plugged in. So here's the new bulbs I'm putting in, and then here they work. So I'm just gonna pull it, turn them off, and then put the rest of the bulbs in, and that is pretty much it for this job here. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the pricing here in a moment. All right, we're all done with that job. That job went pretty sweet. Just those shelving units, no big deal. Got those up, and then she had a little, like a table base that she wanted to put up, so we put that on a few filing cabinets. So we got all that set up. That's going to be now her craft room, so pretty exciting that she's actually going to have a functioning craft room. So that'll be pretty cool to get going for her. And then the that light switch pull on that ceiling fan, I've replaced the ones that are up high, but never that one that's down low like that. So that was kind of cool, and it was kind of fun to take apart. I think you guys saw on that video. I think I got close enough for it, but actually taking apart the parts where the light bulbs screw in, that was pretty exciting to kind of see how that all those mechanisms work and how the you know, electricity is transferred to the light bulb. That was pretty sweet. I mean, I've never taken one of those apart before, so that was pretty exciting. And then, you know, had to kind of figure out how to put it back together because I had never taken one of those apart before. But it was pretty cool. And like everything, you know, in this handyman business, it's all about, you know, doing stuff and figuring it out, because not everything is exactly the same. You know, I mean, a lot of people give me a hard time for doing new things on the customer's time. If I felt like I was not able to perform a job, like I just physically couldn't do it, or I didn't have the mental capacity to do it, I would never even try it. Never do it, because I do not want to waste customers' money on something that's not going to work. I only do things for customers that I actually know that I can do. It's in my physical ability and my mental capacity to finish the job, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability, and it's going to look good. So I don't try and rip people off. But anyways, so let's get back to the logistics of this job. I was there for about an hour and a half. Total labor for that job was $190. So it was a pretty good price job. I am pretty excited for tomorrow's job, because I'm actually working with a guy that was my independent contractor last year, and he's coming back to work for me right now. And it sounds like we're trying to make it work where he's going to become an employee of my business. So I'm excited about that. I know a lot of you guys have asked me about him and how I pay him, and so I'm excited tomorrow, but it'll be posted on the next vlog. You guys are gonna be able to meet him, and I'm gonna ask him a few questions. It's gonna be exciting. We're gonna talk a little bit about our relationship. I'm really excited for that, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to this channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section below. Thank you all so much, and have a great evening.